What's good with the people? Happy Monday. You already know what it is. Smoke Talk Football. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Man, when Detroit Lions had an opportunity to put the Chiefs in a very bad situation, and they didn't. You all seen the incident between Juju and Brian Branch. And unfortunately, they're probably gonna suspend Brian Branch at least about what I say maybe 3 games, which I think I ain't heard it just yet. But I'm gonna say this real quick, right? When it comes to Detroit, I think it's time for them to trade one of their running backs. I'm gonna start off by saying that I think it's time for them to trade one of their running backs, and we all know if they did trade one, it would be Montgomery, right? That's who they would. That's who they would. 9 out of 10 trades. Excuse me for that. That's who they would trade. You're not trading Gibbs, right? You're not trading Gibbs. So, and when we look at it, right? Check this out. Gibbs had 17 carries, 65 yards. The longest run that he had was 15, right? David, 4 carries, 24 yards, 6 yards average. My bad. They should have gave David the ball more. When you have a speed running back and a power running back, you have to be able to navigate between. Hey, guess what? This is this is the time for our strong running back to get the ball and you know what I'm saying, deliver whatever he needs to deliver. They're gonna have to trade one of them running backs, and I'm not sold on Detroit. I'm gonna say that again. I'm not sold on Detroit. Detroit is one of those type of teams where they'll have it right, and they will lose to a team like they just beat Kansas City a couple years ago on a first um, first game of the season. They beat them. Here, what we seen was just once again Jared Goff. Even though Jared Goff did have, I think he had like about 200 yards. Something's not clicking with me to be like, you know what? I'm 150% sold on Detroit. Detroit going to the Super Bowl, right? At first, beginning of the season, yeah. Now, as I'm looking at it, no, I'm not sold on Detroit. Chiefs wind up beating them. Hey, and we gonna see how Detroit. We're gonna see how Detroit is for the rest of the season, right? 49er stuff. We gonna get to that last, right? Let's get to Thursday game. Thursday. Thursday game, Giants versus Eagles. Check this out. Check this out. I know this early, but I'm about to say this. The Giants is going this time next year. I think the Giants is going to be the team of the East. Why do I say that? Their defensive front is nice. They're nice. They wreak havoc and they're fast. Sometimes you can have a good defensive front. They can be strong, but they're not fast. Giants got the speed. They can hit. Thibodeau, you know what I'm saying? You got Brian Burns. You have, and not to mention they D tackle. All they need is one nice corner, right? I think their secondary is not like for me. Their secondary is not that great, but you can build off that defensive front, right? They will have the best defensive front in the NFL as time goes on if they're able to keep everybody healthy and paid, right? Here's the deal that everybody is talking about with Philly, right? Philly just has to, all Philly got to do, look, it ain't nothing wrong with Philly, right? There is times when you need your quarterback to make plays, as far as, of course, throwing the ball. And then there's a time when you need your running back to make plays. When you have that combination as far as running back, wide receiver, tight end, right? Here's my thing with Philly is going to be nice. I will say this though. I will say this about Philly. What made Philly was their offensive line. They had, like Detroit, have a very good offensive line. Their offensive line is great. I'm sold on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is nice. When is Jalen Hurts is nice. So there's a lot of hoopla saying, "Oh, Jalen is nice," but we do have to give him this season to see. You got to give him this season after he win the Super Bowl. At least see what we gonna do, right? We gotta give him that. They have the same wide receivers, running backs. We want to see more from Philly. I think how Philly is getting exploited is their offensive line, which is supposed to be one of the best. And I think their offensive line, not even I think, I'm seeing their offensive line is struggling with blocks, with running the ball as well, right? Philly will be in it. We're gonna see at the end of the year if they get that Philly mojo going. And when they get that Philly mojo going, it's gonna be hard for anybody to beat them. Okay. Now, let's stop talking about Dallas real quick. Let's stop talking about Dallas. I'm gonna say this one for the 49ers. All right. Let's stop talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas, I don't want to hear nothing about Dak. And it's not the fact that they got beat by Carolina. Even had they won versus Carolina, I still don't want to hear nothing about the Cowboys because the Cowboys is not a really good team. They traded their best defensive player, right? They have two good wide receivers, actually three, four, if you really want to be honest with you. But their number one and number two wide receivers are great, right? Pickens can be a number one on any team in the NFL, right? Dak Prescott reminds me of David Carr. Big games, he's not there. He's just not there. I don't care how many passes Dak has, how many yards he has. You gotta get the win. You gotta get the win. And something about Cowboys, right? The Cowboy fans, where I felt like the same thing with Tony Romo. Tony Romo was an average quarterback. What made him was the people that he was playing with. You had T.O., you had their tight end, you had the running back. Like, I wasn't sold on Tony Romo. I was sold on everybody around Tony Romo. And that's the same thing that Prescott reminds me of. He reminds me of a Tony Romo, right? It's Tony Romo. So let's stop talking about Dallas, right? Dallas doesn't, like I said, it does not have nothing to do with the fact that they lost to the Carolina Panthers. No, I'm just tired of talking about Dallas, right? Um, Aaron Rodgers, hey, look, that's my sleeper team. Pittsburgh Steelers is my sleeper, like they're my sleeper team. I think while we talk about everybody else, and it's taken, of course, the first two games, you gotta figure out how to play with your teammates. Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. Okay, you see what the Jets did yesterday, 0-5. Okay, they should have thought about that before they got rid of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Glenn came in there. He don't know what the hell he's doing. And I don't mean to say that as far as offensively. I felt like you You literally got rid of Aaron Rodgers for, oh boy, dumbest decision ever. Dumbest decision ever. Okay? So, Steelers is my sleeper team. Let's get to it. Right? Let's talk about the 49ers. Right? 10 minutes of talking about everything else. Let's talk about the 49ers. Shout out to Fred Warner. He's gone for the season. And I think, my personal opinion, right? Gruesome injury. He broke his ankle. And we at it again, right? Injuries. Injuries. I kind of knew when Fred went out the game, that was it. That was it. Like, if you thought the 49ers was going to win that game after Fred went out, I don't know what to tell you. Because I knew we was going to lose that motherfucker. I don't have a problem with the defense. So check this out. This has nothing to do with the defense. I feel like when you lose your number one and two best players on defense, what can you do? What can you do? You lose your number one and now your number two best player. Then you lose your number one best player. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Definitely have to make a trade. Definitely have to make a trade. You probably didn't have to make a trade when you lost Nick Bosa. But you got to make a trade now. You have to get a middle linebacker up in there. Right? I'm not sure what's going on with Nick Martin. I don't know the update with him. If we can push him to play the middle, or if D Winters will play middle, but we definitely need a middle linebacker, and we need another pass rusher. On top of that, I would say this. The 49ers also need a cornerback. Okay? They need a quarterback. Too many blown coverages yesterday. Baker proved why, even with Fred going down, right? Baker proved that right now, if it was 6 games, if the season was 6 games, he would be the MVP. Did you see that 3rd and 14 run? I for sure thought we had him. He broke damn near 4 tackles, getting 15 yards, 3rd and 14. We need a trade. It is what it is. We need a trade. Whether we get a cornerback, whether we get a middle linebacker, whether we get a DN, whether we able to get all three, which I don't think we're going to do. I think we're going to either get a linebacker or a DN, right? But we got to make a trade. This wasn't, to me, like I said, when Fred went out, I kind of figured that was it. We was gonna have to score a lot of points based on their defense. Their defense is pretty good. Like, yeah, this is what I want to talk about though. Let's talk about the offense. Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is damn near averaging 25 touches a game, right? He's number one. He's number two as far as rushing attempts. He only has 336 yards rushing. Rushing as far as when it comes to him is they're stopping the run when it comes to him. Um, and I don't think it has anything to do with Matt Jones. I think the 49ers have just got kind of predictable with how we're going to run McCaffrey. And I think it's kind of easy a little bit when you have a good running back that what you want to do is, especially if you ain't got your number one wide receiver out there, you're going to load that box up, right? You're going to load the box up. But there's times where I feel like our offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan, as you calling in the plays, right? Why, you know what the theme of this year as far as 49er offense go? Why is it B-Rob getting at least 7 touches? Why not? Why is it that we got all the way up to the red zone and we got so predictable within our play call? So predictable. Running with McCaffrey. Running with McCaffrey. I have not seen McCaffrey and Brian Robertson be out there on the same at the same time. Maybe once or twice. And I think that was the maybe Seattle game or the Seattle game. Outside of that, I have not seen it. You have to play mind games with the defense. And he's not playing mind games with them. They know exactly what they're doing, what the 49ers doing. Their defense knew exactly what the 49ers was doing. How we going to run McCaffrey, how we going to... I get it that McCaffrey is getting most of his receiving yards, right? Because he has 446 receiving yards, 780 yards altogether when you combine the rushing and the receiving, right? So he's the lead in the league in all-purpose yards, right? Yet he's struggling on the ground. And I'm not going to say struggling, but yeah, it seems like he's struggling on the ground. Matt Jones had a weird game. I know the first interception wasn't necessarily on him. Bourne decided not to go the full route and decided to stop and go inside instead of going outside, which dude made an excellent play. The second interception, dude read his eyes, right? We don't need an offensive player, right? We just need better play calling. We need better play calling. The play calling for the 49ers has sucked all season. Even with the games that we won, it sucked. Okay? It sucked. We played worse yesterday, and I understand because maybe it was emotional watching your best defensive player get carted off. However, bad play calling. It doesn't matter, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you real quick. I don't think we have a quarterback controversy. And the reason why we don't have a quarterback controversy is because whenever they feel ready for Brock Purdy has to come in. And because Brock Purdy is making what almost 50 million, his contract, you have to play him. You have to at least play Brock Purdy 4 games. We're playing Brock Purdy 4 games. If Brock Purdy's record, right, is not better than Matt Jones's, what is that, 5 games that he's played, then, or 6 games, yeah, I think he played 5. Well, then that's when it becomes a quarterback controversy. It's not really a quarterback controversy as much as I would love to see Matt Jones be in. I think Matt Jones is the better quarterback out of Brock Purdy, right? We got to see what Brock Purdy can do. So let's see next week. We play the Falcons Sunday night. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I would like to see B Rob touch the ball, excuse me, at least 10 times. Even if you're going to run McCaffrey, right, 17 times. 27 if you give B Rob at least 10 touches. He's effective. Okay? Whether the offensive coordinator, Kyle, listens to that. Okay? Because we see Kyle Shanahan, I will not, his offensive mind is brilliant. But he's not like his dad in the way where he's just going to run the ball 40 times. Dad ran the ball with Terrell Davis. Kept running that ball with TD. TD was more of a powerful runner, breaking tackles. You know what I'm saying? You had to game tackle Terrell Davis. That's the same thing with B Rob. Kendrick Bourne had a great game. He left off where he did in LA. Great game. Great game. Even the game in LA. Great game. And it's funny is when you think about the LA game, right? Us playing the Rams and how we battled through adversity. And of course, you know, it was different. We had Fred Warner out there. Once you take Fred Warner out, the 49ers is it 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 is it's a field race. They like I said, that blown coverage with a guy, and it wasn't even blown coverage. Dude just outran the cornerback for a touchdown, right? And that would have been never happened had we got Baker down for that 3rd and 14. And right after that play, that 3rd and 14, touchdown. 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 The 49ers got to go back to the drawing board on offense and see what they're going to do. Look, well, like I said, when it comes to defense, I understand that you lose your number 1 and 2 best defensive players. It's up to the offense at that point to be able to score points. and not just field goals, touchdowns, touchdowns, touchdowns. We're not going to win. And shout out to our kicker. Our kicker, hey man, he was knocking them, but we wasn't scoring touchdowns with those field goals. So therefore, they kept a good they kept a good lead on us because we just could not score touchdowns. And this has kind of been a theme because we had this last year where we're getting to the red zone and we cannot score touchdowns. We just can't score touchdowns for some reason. So whether we have Brock or Matt back there as quarterback, for some reason, we cannot score touchdowns in the red zone. We don't have a wide receiver that's going to really blow the top off. So it is schemes. The 49ers offense is more based off of schemes and how to get one person open or not. And we don't have Kittle, who by far not, if the best tight end, the second best tight end in the game. So it's easy to zero in on Christian McCaffrey. So look, we play the Falcons. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. If I had to, if I had to just pick, I got the Falcons winning by 7. Um, that can change during the week, but I got the Falcons winning by 7. I think with Fred Warner being injured, that messed with the psyche of our team a little bit. Anyway, I'm out. Happy Monday. Peace.